Hi, I'm Gina again, and this topic is going to be living with someone else's decisions. So we've talked about how to stay sane, and one of the things that makes us not sane is someone else's decisions. So sometimes things happen in our life that are not decisional, like I hate to be negative, but like a hurricane or a disease comes into our life, and these are not things that we can control. They're not things that anyone has done to us, um, but the but it's really difficult when it is a situation where someone has done something. They have made a decision that greatly affects you, and possibly in a terribly negative way. And how do you cope? So, if it is a person that you're not very close to, but they have greatly affected you, let's say, a company's up and moving and you are going to lose your job, that's traumatic. Um, your boss fires you, that's traumatic. But when it's a very close personal relationship and you feel like you knew this person's character and this is outside their character, then those are times that are really, really hard to reconcile when you feel like you really know someone, but it's not, but they're doing something that is un, ununderstandable for you and yet excruciating at the same time. And so, I'm being vague enough that probably a lot of you can relate to that. A decision that an adult child makes, or a decision a spouse makes, a decision our best friend makes. If that decision is disappointing, if that decision, like I said, seems really out of character, then you do feel a betrayal on a certain level. You feel like, do I really know you? And then with that comes some insecurity and a lack of trust. And so you've got a lot of things that you're having to deal with at one time. And so how do you deal with someone else's life choices? So I do want to say one thing that's very important. I can talk about this again at another time, but I do feel like it's very important for us to not try to live someone else's life. We can advise and we can encourage and we can even say something like, under the circumstances, this is what I would do, but I'm just not sure that it is ever helpful to try to control someone else's life. I don't like manipulation, and sometimes manipulation comes in a heavy-handed form, like, I'll cut off your money or I'll kick you out. And sometimes we have to do things like that for ourselves, but just not doing it for a motive that is to control somebody else, is a valuable point. If we are controlling someone and they're living a life and making a huge life decision because we have something to hold over their head that they can't manage, if we do that, then it's going to cause a lot of other problems. It's going to cause resentments, and it's going to weaken the relationship anyway. So I just suggest that if someone makes a decision that is devastating to you, then you work on how you take care of yourself. You work on what I need to do for myself. This person is definitely doing what they think they need to do for themselves. And so the next move for me is to do what I feel like I need to do for myself. And what does that look like? Hopefully it's not going to be something spiteful, something vengeful, something manipulative. Again, hopefully it's going to be, okay, this is your choice and this is your life, and so your decisions do affect me. And so I need to make decisions that are going to be healthy and wise and peaceful and appropriate for me in light of the decisions that you're making. And so, that can look like a lot of different things. I know I'm being super vague and I'm not giving, really specific advice. I'm not saying I couldn't try a little harder. I'm just going to try to keep this video really short. And then if people have certain questions about certain specific situations, like, for instance, a husband and a wife, and then, if he's not being faithful with his money, or he's, spending his money and then there's not enough money to pay the bills, do you separate your money and different things like that. I guess we could talk about those later in a different time, but for right now I'm just trying to be super generic because I'm wanting to keep this really short. And so it's just going to look different for every situation. It's going to look different for every person. But if you are an intelligent person and you have a source of wisdom inside of you, the Holy Spirit, then you should be able to decide what decisions you need to make for yourself that are going to be good for you despite what someone else is doing. Is it going to wipe away the pain of their decisions? Likely not. Is it going to make them change their decision? I have no idea, and I would guess likely not. But from the time someone makes a really drastic decision that is going to negatively impact you, you have your own decisions to make. And so that's just the position I would go from is, okay, so-and-so is making decisions for themselves that they feel like are best for themselves, whether I think they are or aren't. So now what do I need to do to make decisions in light of this that are best for me? And especially if you still are a parent with children in the home, what decision I need to make that's best for me and my children. And then if you are like me and you have grown children that are not in the home, I still make a lot of my decisions based on how this will affect me, my children, and my grandchildren. So that matters to me. That matters immensely to me. And I don't want to I don't want to do to my children what someone else is doing to me by making a drastic decision that I feel like is good for me, but is going to devastate my children. So that's just a huge consideration for me. And it has always been a real blessing to me to make decisions not just based on my selfish desires, but to make decisions based on others that I love and care about and want to nurture. And that is not just my children and grandchildren, but it is primarily, and I apply the same thing to the others, like my siblings and my parents. I still feel like I want to make decisions that are healthy for me and not harmful to others. So, and I hope that is almost always possible. There are times that whatever decision we make may hurt people. It may hurt them all. It may hurt one or more. But if it is the right decision, and if it is the godly decision, if it is something that you feel like the Lord has laid on your heart to do, it's a path He's leading you, a door He's opening for you, then you do have to just leave the consequences to the Lord. Let Him handle those other people. He might be bringing them right along. It might just be painful for a short season. But the pain I cause my children or my grandchildren, I don't want it to be a selfishness where they are really hurt because I am really selfish. So if someone else does that to my children and grandchildren, I can't prevent that. But I don't want to do that personally. So that's my advice on how to handle someone else's decisions. If they are very, very drastic and hurtful to you. And again, if you have questions, I can add to this, and I can be more specific as time goes. For right now, I am just trying to keep these videos short and keep the topics broad. All right, thanks.